Okay, so I know what you're thinking. I'm sure you've seen the title and you're asking the same question we did before we saw this. What in the fuck is Philly Brown? Okay, a little backstory before we start this. This was originally going to be the review for The Big Wedding, but the projector wasn't working or something, and they canceled the whole showing. It's like, well, shit, we're here now. What do we see? Turns out a movie called Philly Brown playing in 10 minutes. Again, we asked the same question. What the hell is Philly Brown?
None of us had any idea.
I haven't even heard of it, and chances are you probably haven't either. So, so we went to check it out. Turns out it's a urban drama, and much to my surprise, I actually liked it.
Pretty good. Yeah.
It was quite moving, I thought.
It was really hard not to like, honestly.
It's like, I mean, there's some problems with it. We'll get into that more in depth. Problem I saw more than you guys did, more than likely. But this is her first drama. I'm so proud. It's like a proud papa. It's like finally delving into my territory. So when we go from one horrible romantic comedy, which I was loathing to see, to one movie that's actually much more my taste, I was like, yes, finally.
Maybe it was divine intervention after all.
I don't know. It's like between this and had the screen blacking out and Pain and Gain, this has been a very odd week for movies. But to the movie itself, it's like, as far as dramas goes, it actually wasn't bad. I was looking up at Rotten Tomato before we got, while you guys were in the bathroom, and it turns like, it's better than what they're giving it. It's like 50 on Rotten Tomato right now. It's like, it's better than that. Let me start. What do you guys think overall? Like, you start off.
Easy character to love. I mean, she's strong-willed. She doesn't take shit from anyone. Even though she's a girl, she'll kick your ass. She'll kick your ass. And you just are rooting for her the whole time. And you get to know each of her family members very well. You know, they all kind of had their story within the bigger story, which is, you know, Philly Brown's story.
Let's talk a little bit about the lead. Actually, no, before I do, I want Sarah, what do you think?
I agree with what Alysa said. I would like to add on that one of the most likable things about the lead character is that first and foremost, everything she does for her family. So that is something that everybody can relate to, no matter what your culture or socioeconomic background. She works hard for the betterment of her family. And there's a situation involved, which we'll get more into momentarily, I'm sure. And I liked how it was paced. I found some of the lighting choices interesting and effective. And I'm probably the only person in this car who can draw this comparison, but in terms of the pacing and the story and certain scenes, it reminded me a lot of 8 Mile. So.
I haven't seen it, but yeah, I pretty much agree. To add, basically, this is a very much, it's kind of that the rising star kind of story, which we have seen before in a lot of movies. But again, as I've said before, that doesn't mean we shouldn't stay when it's done well, and I do think it was done well here. Particularly the main actress. I don't know her name because I've never seen her in anything before this.
Me neither.
And I looked her up, I was like, Celine Rodriguez, but she's very, very good in this, and she really does work well as a lead character, makes you root for her story. And on a little bit of a side note, this is one thing I noticed, I don't know about you guys, but I liked the fact that she wasn't just she seemed like an actual normal person.
Yes.
Like, just, like, looks and personality. Like, this is someone you can act, well, granted, another person like her, a bit overdone, in my opinion, but that's nitpicky. But it's like, this is someone, like, I can actually imagine, like, she looks and feels like a real person. It's not like, with, like, say, any other movie about this where you have the extremely, absurdly attractive female lead. It's like, no, it's like, realistically attractive.
She was an attractive lady who was proportional. She wasn't overly skinny.
Yeah, exactly, and I like that.
Believable.
It was a nice change of pace.
Yes.
From the standard, you know, like, look at the big busty bimbo and act all surprised when people start noticing her, you know, because she, God forbid, she never had that before.
Funny comment about her sweater. They're like, yeah,
that's a big ass sweater.
That was
like,
funny.
But I like that little touch. I like that she wasn't like the big, huge, like something you would see out of Transformers or something. Like the model. I like that she wasn't the model. I like that. I thought that was it was refreshing to see that, because you don't see that very often.
Yeah.
Her sister, on the other hand, does kind of fit more into like that Kim Kardashian kind of look going for her, and she kind of bugged me. But
her sister,
even that, she had some good moments.
Sister complimented the main character, I think.
Her sister looked and dressed like somebody who's older than 17. That kind of broke the illusion
a little bit. Yeah, I noticed that too. I just realized I got a kind of creepy glow around my eyes. We're in Lisa's car, by the way. That's why the lighting is different. But okay, anyway. Where was I gonna go with this? Okay, so what's the story behind this? Because I'm sure none of you know what the hell this is, except maybe one or two of you that might watch this. It's basically about a girl named Philly Brown, obviously, who lives in the more urban parts of town.
Los Angeles.
In the ghetto. South Park reference. And she wants to be a rapping star. And to give her credit, I don't like this kind of music, but even I thought she was pretty good.
Yeah.
So of course she eventually gets noticed by like some more underground guy wearing a cowboy hat. He was kind of annoying, and then who basically
refinedly, like, it's like Hooters, tacky, but refinedly tacky. Very memorable character.
Hooters is refinedly tacky.
No,
really, you're gonna maintain
slogan.
That argument?
That's their slogan. I'm just drawing a parallel between this guy, this underground guy, and Hooters.
Yeah, because I love their chicken wings. That's what I go there for. I don't go to Hooters anyway.
I heard once that they have their own airline now.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Well, guess who's taking a trip to Hawaii soon? Anyway, so yeah, it's kind of, you kind of can tell what's going to happen from there. She eventually rises up and becomes a big old star, and then things eventually start crashing back down. Again, it's a story we've seen before, but what does save it is the acting and the characters, which are, most of them anyway, at least the leads ones, when you're supposed to pay attention to, are very good. Philly Brown is great in this movie. She really does a good job of all the emotions going through. You believe every second of it. Like, yes. I never thought there was a part where she felt out of character.
Right.
And, like, her sister, too. Her sister kind of bounced back and forth, but towards the end, I thought she got a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And, like, especially when they started connecting more. The dad, I love the fucking dad.
Me too.
The dad I thought was great.
What a silent badass. Reminds me of my own dad, I swear.
Well, that's what I kind of liked about him. Like, he didn't overplay anything, except towards the very end. Like, he was very kind of withdrawn. He has to be this strong father figure for these kids, and he did a very good job of, like, you kind of knows you can't let your emotion get in the way of that, and he doesn't. And I thought that was done very effectively.
And he stayed true to himself and his background.
Yeah, and that's makes his speech towards the very end very emotional, very powerful. It's the fact that you never see him get to the weakened state up to that point, so it has more impact. Again, that's my opinion, but like, I'm surprised more people don't like this movie. Like, I thought the acting was pretty good. Like, in it alone, I thought kind of saved some more cliche notions of the movie. Now, granted, I watch more serious dramas than actually, how many dramas do you watch, Sarah?
Well, I've actually seen more mainstream movies this year than I have in years because I...
Me.
Yes, you, but I'm happy to be here. Subscribe. But,
shameless plug.
Yes, but I actually tend to prefer more independent films because I find that the stories and the acting tend to be better overall. So I guess a lot of dramas do fall into that category. So I do tend to like dramas when they're well structured and well acted.
Fair enough. It's like the structure in this was questionable at certain points. Again, there are things that bugged me, some characters that kind of annoyed me a little bit. Like the mother kind of grained on me after a while.
Why?
The story of this is basically, on top of wanting to be a big star in the future, she also has her mother who's in jail. In fact, the main reason she's doing this is because she thinks that there's a way to get her court tossed out, pretty much, and get her out of jail. And to do that, she needs money to pay off a lawyer, and we'll get to that in a bit. And of course, you expect spoilers from this, so you've been warned. But she kind of annoyed me because she kind of over-dramatized everything she said to kind of a ridiculous degree. And she did this thing which annoyed me, probably not you guys, but she did this thing where every time she would say anything, she would, like, do this head-bobbing thing.
I noticed that too.
I think that was to emphasize the fact that she was using.
Maybe, yeah, spoiler. Oh.
Yeah, and some of the camera choices for the scenes, like the super close-up on her really shiny, really sweaty face.
Emphasizing the using?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, the problem is it felt a little too drawing attention to it. Again, it's kind of a nitpicky argument, but it's kind of distracting. Like, say if every time I said something, I would go like this. Every time I would say something, I would move my head just a little more in an odd direction. Kind of like I was looking around like
But she was more like trying to hold her head back. She would be like, get me out of jail. I'm so miserable here. Like, that's kind of how
How
I
would you
felt.
know about
I
this?
don't know. I've never been to jail,
Life is
so-
hard
and I've never
in here,
used, so-
mija.
Yeah.
Did you just pull a Tommy Wiseau?
I was just imitating what I saw.
Oh, okay. I thought you said like so hard, huh? No.
Let's talk about the cultural
Yes.
problems
Yes.
they bring
That's
up.
it is a
this
very
movie,
Latino-based movie, and it does involve a lot of that culture and a lot of that background.
which I liked.
Yeah, which I liked. That being said, this is goes to one thing that kind of annoyed me. Thankfully, it's not a huge focal point of the movie. Is eventually when this guy starts realizing her first publisher basically realized what kind of talent she has. Producer, thank you. She eventually starts trying to throw a demo together. One of the DJs at this radio station she works at. So while they're working together, they basically said like, no, don't go with the sexy rhymes. Go for something that means something, that's powerful. That's art. That's art. And it's like, problem is like it tries to say something, but at the same time, it's not exactly nothing that's been said before. I mean, like my point is like it's been said before. They didn't really. I'm not trying to phrase this. Like they're trying to say something meaningful, but it's nothing new. That's what I'm trying to say. Like it's like we've heard this stuff before. We've heard it done better, in my opinion.
From a female, though?
From anyone, really. Like, female, male, we've heard these kind of things said about this community before. And it's not necessarily a new thing. It is a very important thing, mind you, but at the same time, we've seen it before. So it's not really anything, like, I didn't really feel that inspired by it, because, again, I've heard that message.
Even so, there are current or younger generations who haven't heard those classic get up and stand for your rights type.
Get up, stand up, okay.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. That was totally unintentional. Yes, there are current people who haven't heard those classic songs, and so the new generation of artists, I can understand why they would need to pick up the mantle and inspire people again.
It's like, and it is a good message. I don't want to get the wrong idea here. It's like, and again, it kind of goes to my issues. Like, if you're gonna bring something up like that, and you just kind of mention it in passing, it's like, no, you really kind of have to explore that, though. If you're gonna go in that direction, you really have to get into it. You have to get in the meat and grime of it, and really just explore it for all it's worth.
I feel like the movie did it that way because the point of the movie wasn't about, like, you know, the Latino struggle. It was more of this one individual who happened to be Latino.
That's a very good point, yeah.
Yeah, it was focused on that, but it did kind of subtly and not so subtly touch on some other issues.
Oh, yeah, like the realtor was
in Latin
just
culture.
like,
Oh,
Yes.
what the hell was that? Okay, to get a little background on this particular thing, because this bugged me too. It's like the dad works for like a construction agent for a real estate agency, and apparently the pretentious white man, because as far as I know,
Ray-Bans.
there's only like 3 white people in the movie, I think.
Yeah.
So we're getting poor representation here, because God forbid. Yeah. Anyway.
Although I did think a few of the Latino and characters looked pretty white.
That's a good, yeah, that too. But anyway, so he works, but of course, like they're big, bulky, tattooed guys. They look like kind of been like veterans or convicts and stuff like that.
Gang members,
stuff like that. So, and then of course, like the pretentious real estate agency. It's like, oh, we can't have you seen with those rapscallions doing the jobs we are too proper to do. So, don't you respect yourself at all, man? You're a foreman who's doing hard labor. Who expects you to wear comfortable clothes? Clearly, this bugged me.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, it's not that bad, but I'm over-dramatizing it a tad.
it is subtler than that.
The fact that they made it so subtle makes it even more offensive. Like, she didn't
Yes.
even blatantly say, hey, you're a Mexican working in front of my, like, estate that I'm trying really hard to sell. You kind of need to clean up a bit. Like, she didn't even say that. She just said something more subtle, like...
You look like a fucking ex-con.
She actually
Yeah.
does say that at one point, where it's like, are you kidding me? It's like, what?
And you just
What
see
year are we in?
You can just see the dad just trying really hard, and then at the very end when he's just like, I know another contractor, goodbye. Like,
That's like, well, that was a good moment for
I was
him.
like, good for you.
Yes.
At the same time, that being said, it's like, I don't know, the scenario, I mean, I love the dad in this character. I think it's one of my favorite characters in the movie. But I kind of thought the circumstances for that was a little forced and a little like something you would not necessarily see in today's day and age. So like it felt a little outdated almost. Like if this came out maybe 10 years ago, that probably would be more relevant. But nowadays, like I don't think people see that as much as a problem anymore. So the fact they're acting like it is just seems very off-putting to me.
Well, the problems still exist. They're just publicized less.
Very true, very true. I don't know. It's like if you're having people doing construction work, I don't think the appearance of a construction worker is necessarily all that important, at least to potential buyers, because they know they're just doing their job. I mean, they're doing bottom of the barrel stuff. I mean, they don't want to do this. Who does want to do this? So it's like my point is like, I don't know. The fact they'd make such an issue of how they look while they're doing it would not be as big of an issue as his realtor would make it. And I do like the character moment it eventually led to, although I thought it was a little odd that they say he kind of was having an identity crisis when up to that point it didn't really seem like he, as his own personality-wise, he kind of had it well put together. But I still liked it.
The silent type
Yes.
is the scary type.
Oh, yes.
And there's another character that bothered me, but again, it led to a great moment with the dad, was the other rapper guy.
Oh my god, what a D-bag. What was his rapper's name?
Like might as well have been.
I think it was something blow.
C-bag or something?
Like WC something.
Yeah.
WC Wyatt or something like that.
Or I think it may have been WC Blow.
He looked like Pitbull. But I'm sure Pitbull is way nicer than that guy.
Oh,
This guy was a total
crap. You
douche.
just remind me of Pitbull's an epic, and I gotta see that later this year. Okay. Anyway.
So he like has a relationship with the main character's younger sister, and
That's just creepy. Okay.
Don't touch her.
17, supposedly 17 years old. She
Yeah.
doesn't look 17, but
she doesn't look 17, but in the script, it's pointed out that her character is 17, meaning she's a minor.
yeah, which of course, and then he keeps flirting with her. It's like, and just keeps saying like the most awful jackass things. Like, she's 17, man. She doesn't taste that way. We're just like, ew.
I gasped.
What is wrong with you?
When I heard that line, I was like,
It's like,
oh my god.
But again, that's another thing that kind of bothered me, though. It's like, I'm sure people like this exist, because for every stereotype, there's one leading example.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's like, who acts like this? Even if you are big in the business, I mean, granted, later scenes I believed, but like stuff like that, it's like, who would say that? Who would behave this way? Who would do these
I don't know, he wanted to
despicable-
start a fight in the radio
purposefully
station earlier.
Yeah, for like
because
no reason.
Because
Again,
that guy was like, you know.
he was like the only character who was like, really, we're doing this. But like I mean, I think his probably the biggest problem I had with the movie was that particular character more than anyone else.
And I didn't like how the first producer, promoter guy, the guy in the cowboy hat, kept well, actually both of the producers, they referred to themselves in the third person.
Well, she referred her as herself.
Yeah, like
Once.
once,
But-
and even that was pointed out. That was the only time they ever pointed it out. I was like, did she really just refer to herself in the third person?
She did.
It was like, are we just now talking about this? The fact that every other rapper has been doing that since the beginning of the movie. Like like WCY doesn't like this. Like Bob Doe don't like this.
Yeah, they kept on referring to themselves in the third person.
And then like the rappers plays chess on his computer.
Oh, yeah.
Like what was the character's name? Like Big C, was it?
Big C.
Big C.
Big C.
He
like,
was the more legit producer.
who looks almost exactly like a friend of mine. It was kind of
Really?
off-putting.
Does your friend act like that?
He is a rapper actually. But I worked with him on a play like last year.
okay.
Great guy.
Tell him to see this movie.
Ronald Johnson. There's a man in this movie who looks exactly like you. I doubt he's watching this, but you never know.
True.
Anyway, where's it going? Oh yeah, he's like this. Oh yeah, I was just making a joke about the chess thing. Now I can think of him saying like Sea Dog moves Queen to E5 or something like that.
Castle King side.
Castle Kingside. That sounds like a really bad burger.
It's when if your king doesn't move, then your rook and king can actually switch.
Oh, I had my brother-in-law pulled that shit on me when I almost won.
That's a fun move.
I hate that move. I was so mad. It was checkmate. The game was over, and then he pulled that on me. Sorry. Anyway, off topic. Clearly, I'm not bitter.
No, not in the least.
Not
Tell
at
us how
all.
you really feel.
But it's like overall, like stuff like that. I like the family dynamic. I like the act. I thought the very, very ending was a little over dramatic.
Which one? Which part?
The one where she starts rapping in the jail cell. I
Yeah.
thought up to that point, like, okay, we're doing well. Then she starts rapping in the jail cell. I was like,
I know.
okay.
What for me, what killed it at the very end is when her sister goes, "Well, that was awkward." And I'm like, "You're totally 17, man." Yeah.
You would know more of the 17-year-old mentality than I would.
Yeah, I have a 16-year-old sister.
See,
if you're watching
there you
this,
go.
Adrian, probably not, but
No.
you never know.
Probably shouldn't be watching this anyway. Swear and say horrible things. It's astonishing how many movies I've criticized of racism this year.
Would you say this movie is racist?
No, it's actually, well, unless you're stereotyping, then it's, yeah, stereotype, sure, but not racist
It
necessarily.
points out a lot of like social and prejudice
Yes, it
that a
does.
lot
Yeah.
of Latinos face. So
I mean, like, again, the main issue I had when there was the other rapper, that was like, I was like, really? Because especially after, of course, he eventually tries to make a move on the 17-year-old, and of course she says no and leads into this big violent thing. And of course, she does the right thing, goes back and beats the shit out of him, which is what you should do.
Yeah, her sister beats the shit out of him.
with a what was that? Was that a can?
No, it
It
was
was
like
a
a
champagne bucket.
Oh.
yeah. So beats the living crap out of him, and of course he does the alpha male thing. This is one thing I really thought you could have done without. And then he goes over to her house with a baseball bat, beats up her kind of sort of boyfriend, and then
DJ Santo.
and then just tears up the place. Like, really, you pull this alpha? Why has nobody called the police? Filed charges, done something, anything before.
Well, then he proceeds to take her and then beat her up
kidnapping.
in front of the like studio
Surveillance
on camera.
It was like kidnapping, and the funny part
He's
is like,
not very smart. He's
No.
dating a 17-year-old and he's beating his sister, her sister, in front of a camera.
yeah, and then the part that made me laugh was the dad comes in after realizing he's kidnapped and does the right thing, like calls his buddies back, and they go and basically just holds him in a chokehold for 5 solid minutes. And of course, all I could think of is like, so everyone's just seeing this, standing around
Not
him
doing it.
going, yeah, I'm okay with this.
Where's that? Yeah, where that guy like punches him. He's like, show a little respect, man.
Yeah.
But even then, it's like, is someone gonna stop him or like try to hold him back? No, we're just okay. Like, again, that's kind of not really nitpicky, because it's kind of a noticeable little story. I was like, is someone gonna stop him from killing him, or are we just gonna let this happen? You know, like press charges or
Nope.
call the police
No.
or do something, get someone's official on this. And just on a side note, I was very happy to see Colonel Adama as the lawyer in this movie. For apparently, I'm the only Battlestar Galactica fan in this car.
Yeah.
I haven't seen BSG yet, so.
The guy played the lawyer, the big gruff guy with a really deep voice, kind of like this. And I'm not doing it really right. It's coming out more like Clint Eastwood.
Yes.
Get off my lawn. Anyway,
Gran Torino, good movie.
he doesn't really do much, but he was like, nice to see him get work
Yeah.
after his disappointing run on Dexter. But
I mean,
yeah,
overall.
you guys got anything specific you want to talk about? Because I feel like because I've ranted about a lot what I didn't like. I did like this movie. I want to be clear on that. I thought there were some good, a lot of good things to enjoy about it. Is it the best drama I've seen? No, but it's good. It's still good.
Is it one of the better films you've seen this year?
Definitely yes. It's better.
I would recommend you actually go
Yes.
recommend
to the
it.
theater and
It's-
watch this movie.
It's a hidden good one.
Much to my surprise, I recommend it too. I'm sure it beats the hell out of The Big Wedding.
Although we still haven't seen it.
We'll probably check it out next week. Once all my tests and crap are over.
Sounds good. I don't know if it was just me who noticed this, but did anybody else notice the lighting on the shots of the mom whenever she was more
Kind of about that.
strung out? It was darker, and then the shot on her in the closing scene, all bright, which indicates health. Was I the only person who picked up on that?
Now you mention it, I do now. I guess I don't think about that. I noticed that they did a lot of changes. Like, she wasn't moving her head as much. She had her hair back in a bun, stuff like that. So I was like, It was kind of subtle. I mean, they didn't draw attention to it too much.
No, they didn't. It was just an interesting lighting choice.
This movie made a lot of interesting like directional choices, like with the camera in particular. Like sometimes it would kind of pull like Ang Lee's Hulk and suddenly start splitting into different screens with different perspectives at the same time.
The beginning.
And then like there's a weird part where it's like she signed a contract, which she didn't read, by the way. You never do that.
And then her name
And always
is flashing.
read the fine print.
It's like, always read your contract. That's what they always teach you in theater. Always read the contract before you sign. But that's very nitpicky. But it's like, I thought it was kind of an interesting choice. One thing that kind of annoyed me, I mentioned specifically, it's kind of off-putting, was right after a scene where they have the big dark, talking room in the prison, they go to a pure bright white room.
Yes. It was blinding.
Yeah.
So I was like,
The first thing that came to my mind when it was so bright and white was the television room from Willy Wonka.
I thought of an Apple store.
It didn't help there's Apple products everywhere.
Yeah.
There's nice little product plugs in there. And I couldn't help but notice the Dr. Pepper cup they pull in there at one point.
Towards the beginning, actually.
Yeah, towards the very beginning,
in the dinner scene.
There's something else I was going to mention. I forget what it was. Clearly wasn't that important. But I guess let's talk about trailers now, because we got a strange amount of comedies in this one.
Mm-hmm. We did. We got Peoples.
I heard someone in the theaters going, "That's so dumb." But for some reason,
it
I
is
actually
Tyler
was kind of
Perry.
interested in it.
It's Tyler Perry. It's not gonna be good. Well, it's not directed by him, to be fair, but it is produced by him, so
Right.
it has his name
He's on it, yeah.
I had already seen that trailer, so I have a feeling the best parts of the movie are you can see in that trailer.
Yeah, it's like, the sad part is, I think I mentioned this in a previous video, it's like I'm starting to spot Tyler Perry movies, and that concerns me. Where it's like, all black cast, slightly racist, lots of sex jokes, this looks like a Tyler Perry film. Sure enough, guess whose name flashes on the screen.
He has a type.
Yeah, and then we got one for This Is the End, which is the Seth Rogen film.
That actually looked pretty fun. I like those kind of movies personally. I just love Judge.
I do not.
So.
Like, I've talked about this before, so what do you think, Sarah?
I actually like Knocked Up.
Well, Knocked Up's not a bad movie. I'll concede to that one.
I like Seth Rogen and Jonah Hill when they play those types of characters together. They can be funny and entertaining. I'll admit it, the concept looks overly stupid, but it looks like, from what I saw in the trailer, they're having fun with it. So it could potentially be a fun watch.
Fun watch, I would agree.
I don't know.
Nothing close to this movie.
Not a high work of art, not any good social commentary.
Just good fun,
just a fun way to kill 2 hours.
I have a feeling we're going to disagree when that review comes around.
Smoke a bowl, watch the movie.
I don't smoke, but to each their own.
Is that how you watch Seth Rogen movies?
No, I'm just saying. This to the other movie.
I feel like I'm learning so much right now. Okay, on that note.
We got that one. We got Fast and Furious 6.
Again! This is like the 6th time I've gotten this trailer.
Honestly, that's all I'm going to say about it.
See, you
Sorry, Raj.
like this is the end is you're gonna stupid. Like this one I can see myself kind of enjoying from a stupid jackass perspective.
and you didn't mention that Wayne Johnson is getting a lot of work this year.
Dwayne Johnson, I have seen him a lot this year. He is a busy man. Like I've seen him in no less than 3 movies so far. Like Snitch, G.I. Joe, and now Pain and Gain. He's actually a surprisingly good actor.
From The Tooth Fairy to Pain and Gain.
You know what? Me and Grant will agree on this. He was the best part of Pain and Gain. Like, the rest of it was just meh, but he was fantastic.
Huh, interesting.
Like, he can act. He can fucking act. I will give him that much. He was the best part.
I guess he's grown since The Scorpion King.
He has definitely grown since The Scorpion King. I am very pleased to say that. But it's like, it looks like a dumb jackass action movie. Like,
what was that other movie with Emma Roberts?
The Blaine Rain was the other movie.
Not Emma Roberts, Emma Stone.
Emma Watson.
So I always get all my Emmas mixed up. Stone.
That's
Watson.
okay. Give me Emma Stone. Give me Emma Watson. Either way, I'm happy.
Okay, that trailer just showed a bunch of rich
snobs
stealing other.
That pissed me off. What is likable about those characters?
Well, it is Emma Watson.
I'd much rather watch
I'm not
This Is
into
the
girls,
End
Michael.
than that movie.
I don't know.
Sarah and I
Like,
can both agree on
I've
that.
heard things that doesn't look that bad.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
I've seen other trailers. It doesn't look horrible.
You'd rather not watch This Is the End over that?
I really don't like Seth
Oh
Rogen.
my
No,
You're crazy.
we didn't hear
Your point.
We didn't hear any lines. We didn't get any plot points. It was just a bunch of
I
bitches
saw a bunch
and,
of shoes
and their
and nice
frivolous
clothes.
lifestyle.
Maybe it's because I've actually looked at more than you guys have. I don't know. I'm not saying it looks great. I'm just saying it doesn't look that bad.
You just say that because you're a straight male.
What
Yeah, and-
what was the movie called again?
The Blaine Rain, I think.
Oh, The Bling Ring? Oh my God. I think all of them should review that, because that's, and then me
Yeah.
and Sarah will
Get some
review
guys in the
this
car.
together.
Woo! Emma Watson on a pole. Woo! That.
I'll pass. on
Oddly
that
enough,
one.
2 movies with Emma Watson in this particular review, but
Oh yeah. So
because that was the best line in the This Is the End trailer was Hermione just stole all of our shit.
I think This Is the End is worth seeing for that lineup.
Yeah,
alone.
I don't know. For me, that movie just has like too much sitcom-y humor, too much like.
Sitcom humor can be fun sometimes.
I was just
Sometimes.
waiting for the laugh track. Like, I mean, if you're going for an actual comedy, sure, but you're trying to act like this is how you behave in this kind of situation. Granted, in a highly comedic version of it, but at the same time, it's like I hate the name dropping. The name dropping bugs the crap out of me. Like, look over there. Like, I mentioned this. I think I mentioned this Pain Gain too. It's like, oh hi, James Franco. Oh, look over at Michael Cera. like you would never. I would never go like, oh look, hi, Alysa Trinidad or Sarah Regent. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Okay. Like, I would never say that, neither would they, and stuff like that. When there's a giant hole in the ground, you don't say it's Cinco de Mayo. You say, holy shit, there's a giant hole in the ground.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that bugs me. Okay,
Well, like I said, the plot looks stupid, but it looks like it could potentially be a fun watch. That's my assessment.
maybe. I don't know. We'll see when it comes out. So, final thoughts? You want to start there, Sarah? You look like you're ready to go.
Sure. So, we initially thought a handful of hours ago we were going to see The Big Wedding, but this turned out to be a pleasant turn of events. So, I would recommend seeing Philly Brown if you are into urban dramas or actually fairly decent modern rap music, which is rare nowadays, in my opinion.
Okay.
Philly Brown was a really good movie, and you guys should watch it if you want to be inspired.
Yes.
Okay. Like the story, there's parts that are pretty cliche, stories you've seen before, but I think the actors save it. I think the actor performances are pretty good all around, except for a few cases I've mentioned here. Overall, I would actually say check it out. I think it's better than Rotten Tomatoes giving it. So, I think that's all we have to say, so take that as you will. So, who the fuck is Jerry Brown? Someone worth checking out, apparently. So,
Philly Brown.
Let's start this.
I was so close. Okay, and good night, everybody.
Good night.